Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning. I hope everyone's having a good morning. Let's do verse today. Genesis 28, verse 12. And he is Jacob. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. You know what this is? This vision from this vision of Jacob from God. Goodness, I can't speak. This vision of Jacob from God. This is Jacob's ladder. The infamous Jacob's ladder. And I say infamous because many times has Jacob's ladder been used. And almost every time it's been used wrong. There's songs called Jacob's Ladder. There's movies called Jacob's Ladder. And every reference to Jacob's Ladder that isn't a reference to the Jacob's Ladder of the Bible isn't just wrong, it's bad. There's a song called Jacob's Ladder. I'm not going to repeat what it means, but it's not godly. It's not representing God or the vision that he put forth to Jacob. This vision was to show Jacob that the land that he was in was the land that God was promising to him. A promise that he made ultimately to Abraham and to his offspring and to Isaac and ultimately now to Jacob. And Jacob would become Israel. Jacob's offspring would become Israel. So this was the continuation of a promise, a covenant that God made with Abraham. And God keeps his promises. God keeps his covenants, even unto today. When Jesus came in, Jesus changed everything. But those covenants that God set with Abraham are still in place. A promise from God is never stopped. Now, the covenant that God made with Abraham had stipulations. And those stipulations weren't really how do I explain it? Basically, the stipulations were, I'm God. Recognize and believe that I'm God. Recognize and believe that I am God, and I will be with you and all of your offspring forever. Even when Israel got to a point in time where he had to get the king, all of Babylon, to come and sack Israel. Even when that time came, God still wouldn't allow Israel to be totally destroyed, which is really what they deserved. They were sacrificing their own children to false gods. They were doing some bad stuff. But even then, God remembered his covenant, his promise with Abraham. And so he did sack Israel. He had Israel basically almost wiped out, but not destroyed. And they stayed in captivity until all of the ones that were really the ones that were partaken in all of the evil and horrible things were all but gone. And all that was left was their children. And then he allowed Israel to return back to the land. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. Could you imagine seeing that? Yes, that was a vision. A vision given to Jacob from God. Could you imagine seeing a ladder attached to the earth where he laid and ascending all the way into heaven? And angels coming down and up off of it? They were coming down onto the land that God was giving to Jacob. That God promised to Jacob before Jacob was even born. Before Isaac was even born. Before Abraham was even born. God planned this before creation. He planned it all. The thing is, you say to yourself, well, when Adam bit the apple, then, so he was already planning Abraham when Adam bit the apple. So, could Adam have chosen not to bite the apple? He definitely could have. Could you imagine the world now if Adam hadn't bit the apple? Could you imagine where we would be and how everything would be if we never had to taste death? Go forth and multiply. You know what's amazing to me? God created the earth as He created it. And death was not to be a thing. Death was not to happen. There was to be no death. As far as everything that we know of creation of God, until Adam and Eve sinned, there was to be no death, because He told them, you can eat of the fruit of everlasting life. Just don't eat of the fruit of good and evil. So had they not have eaten of the fruit of good and evil, and had they have eaten of the fruit of everlasting life, the world would be a lot more full than it is now. You know, you always hear of, there's too many people being born. The world can't sustain this many people. Well, that is inaccurate. Because God intended for it to sustain a whole lot more people than we have now. Because not a single one was to die. We were to go forth and multiply, but not ever die. So how full would the world be? It would be full in the fullness that God originally intended. But there also wouldn't be all the filth and the trash and the destruction and the chaos and the menace that there is now. Because there would be no sin. No sin. But Adam did bite the apple, Adam and Eve. And so God made a promise to Abraham and to Isaac and now to Jacob. And that promise was given shortly after this vision was given. I had a vision one time. And now I pray for visions because there's such a serenity there. You are literally in the presence of God. When He sends you a vision, you are in the presence of God. But you're in the presence of God in a way that's beyond just His Spirit being around us at all time and His Spirit dwelling within us. You are in the presence of God, and everything else of the world is cut out. Everything else of the world is cut out. It's an amazing thing. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. God bless you.